So as is the case with all communities, like you mentioned, the job market is a great concern for ours, like it is for all Ontarians. However, in this particular community, there are some people that feel that they face disadvantages in the job application process or in accessing opportunities more generally. So what policies do you have to kind of alleviate some of those problems, and also just any comments on the job market as a whole?
Well, we're competing on a worldwide market right now. We aren't competing against the people down the street any longer. We're competing against countries south of the border, countries over in Europe or India, China. So it's a competitive market. It's a worldwide market right now. We have to make sure that we give the incentives for companies to come here. The more companies come here, the more opportunity for everyone. And the only way you're going to get companies here and help the entrepreneurs is, first of all, cut the red tape and regulations. We've heard stories of 7 years to open up a gold mine, for instance, 7 years to open up a recycling company. We put a policy in that when you go for the permits, it's going to take 1 year. One phone number, one office. So that gets people out there and creating more jobs without the red tape and regulations. We have 380,000 regulations in this province. We're going to make sure we reduce the regulations and the red tape to make it easier. We're going to reduce taxes on small businesses. So
that's actually my next question.
Oh, okay.
On taxes. So you've mentioned before in debates and in statements that you plan to reduce taxes for businesses,
That's right.
and also for individuals who are low-income
That's right.
earners. Is
Both,
that's
actually,
correct?
middle class. So we're gonna make sure that anyone that is working on minimum wage will pay 0% tax, tax credit of $850. More, just as important is the middle class. Anyone earning from $43,000 up to $85,000, they're going to get a 20% reduction in their tax rate. We have a different philosophy from the other two parties. Our philosophy is you put money into people's pocket, they're going to stimulate the economy. We're going to reduce taxes on small businesses so that anywhere from 80-85% of the population is employed by small businesses. We'll reduce their taxes by 8.75%. The number one issue in any business is their hydro rates. They can't afford to pay their hydro rates. Big, small, medium companies, they can't compete against companies south of the border. They're paying half the cost of hydro. So we have to bring down the hydro rates, make ourselves more competitive. I can tell you, and I always say this, a new day will dawn in Ontario. When the PC government goes into power, there's going to be opportunity like the province has never seen before, growth like the province has never seen before. We're going to open up the doors and put a big sign down by the borders advertising Ontario is open for business.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I have a follow-up question. So what do you say to people who, when you're talking about your tax plan, what do you say to the people who ask you, you know, if you're cutting all these taxes, the government is going to be losing out on billions of dollars of revenue. How do you respond to people like that? Like, how do you...
Opposite. It's total opposite. When you cut taxes, you put money into people's pocket and into companies, they reinvest in equipment, hire more people, and they stimulate the economy. So more revenues go up to the provincial coffers. Now that's what happens when it gets hurt is when you raise taxes, people close their businesses. We lost 300,000 jobs. Those 300,000 people could be paying taxes. Right now they aren't. Those businesses could be paying taxes. They aren't. I've talked to endless companies that have shrunk their employee base. Bill 148, we've lost 90,000 jobs in small businesses because of Bill 148.
And so your response is basically that by reducing taxes, it'll kind of be offset by the economy being stimulated because of that.
Revenues. You have two options. You either stimulate the economy and attract businesses and employ more people that pay more taxes, more businesses pay taxes, or you take the other approach, jack up the taxes. Companies will be leaving, as sure as I'm sitting here, there's no secret. Companies will leave south of the border. I've had endless companies, up to today. A manufacturer of car parts said, why shouldn't I go down to the US? Give me a reason, because I get hydro at half the cost. They have tax incentives down there for companies. It's a no-brainer, and anyone who thinks any different, it's not a black and white. They're just wrong. It's proven south of the border. They lowered taxes, and trillions of dollars came back into the country. Lowest unemployment in 20 years. They cut out red tape and regulations. It's booming down there. Here, we're struggling. because of high taxes, high hydro rates, more regulations than you could ever think of. 380,000 regulations, who can comprehend that? 7 years to open a business.